Next up, we are going to jump into the home sales. Now, the home sales is a hard one to predict because it's so tied to the inventory. If we don't get more homes, we can't get more home sales. We both said that the inventory should remain relatively flat. We might see a slight uptick in it, but because of that, we tend to see that it should be flat. I'm going to go out there, though, because I think there's a few things on the horizon. I think home sales overall will go up slightly, even if we don't see more inventory, right? And it's hard to always put that thought process together. We have, as we've talked a lot about, people have gotten a little numb to the interest rate. People need to move. We've had a lot of people stuck by themselves, not stuck like housing crisis,
right,
but stuck by themselves in their houses. So they need to move. We have consumers that are just starting to say, hey, enough's enough. We have a lot of equity. We've got a lot of money in there. So I think that this will be the year that people say, enough's enough. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. People always have kids, right? So they have to move.
Making babies.
Right? People are making babies. They have to move. The employment market stays nice, right? People are getting promotions. They're getting raises. They might have to move, right? So they might move into the city or whatever the case may be. So those things are definitely, they're going to have an impact. And I think on the positive side.
I agree with you on that one. Very, very simple. Home sales will go up. It will be slight because once again, we need more inventory to make an aggressive jump. But I think that we're going to see a positive number there. Okay, I nailed days on market this year. I think I'm gonna nail it again. My prediction is going to be that once again we see a relatively flat market with regards to days on market. The time that a home is on the market from the time it lists to the time it goes under contract, we were only off by 2 days this past year. I'm going to say once again, just based on everything that we've talked about so far, we're going to see that. I know, Dan, in your world, some things that may impact it to be more positive is that you're getting more and more products that can shorten the mortgage process. What was the fastest loan that you closed in 20?
8 days. That's the fastest by law, technically, is 8 days.
8 days to get a mortgage done. We used to say like 30 was pushing it, now down to 8. That could have some impact as we go through and kind of see how this goes. But I'm going to say that we're going to see the days on market stays flat. Around 30 days is pretty aggressive to start with. And I'd be surprised if we dip below that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those, like, I'm always curious, and I don't know if we can measure this, but from contract to close, like what happens to that? Like how long is that average time?
The contract to close. That will be an interesting thing to see. We could definitely do it. The hardest thing about that is that there's a lot of personal reasons in that, right?
Exactly.
And especially in a competitive market, a lot of times we're pushing closings out or doing rent backs or those types of things.
Yeah, and I think, and two, there's also the how quickly can we get things done, right? So that, and the more competitive the market, that's something that if you can come in, at $5,000 higher, right? But you can close in, 2 weeks versus someone who wants to close in 30 days, or not even $5,000 higher, more $5,000 lower. $5,000 lower,
I'm thinking
right?
Myself.
$5,000 lower.
Totally.
And
but
close quickly, better terms, non-contingent.
Set the seller up for success.
Right? Those kinds of things, that's what wins. And that's where the conversations with you, the conversations with me, especially how prepared they are.
Yeah.
Right?
Competitive markets make us dig deep into our arsenal of strategies and tools.
Yeah, I got a call yesterday from a listing agent who had a pre-approval from us. It was from September, and it had a rate that was 3/4 low. I mean, rates are higher, right? But it was an old pre-approval letter, and the agent called and he's like, "Hey, are you good with these terms?" I'm like,
"No."
What did you say for the rate?
Heck no.
I'm like, "No, that's not good." And they're like, "You haven't talked to the person?" And it was like a random, internet lead that had come across. The person had no idea that they had to actually update things, right? And the borrower, but they got mad at us.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you can't just throw a letter out there. Guess what? Agents check this stuff.
Right. Well, the good ones do at least.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay. So we both agree days on market should be fairly flat. It's an aggressive number now. It should stay aggressive. Consumer confidence. I'm going to say that consumer confidence will continue to go up in 2025. I don't think it'll be as dramatic as we saw in 2024. Clearly, I had no idea then, but I think it will go up. We tend to see, once again, no matter whether you support the president, you don't support the president, but we see that post-presidency years have a lot of optimism. They also have kind of a honeymoon period where things are happening from that perspective. So I think we're going to see that piece go. We also have to know that, once again, our stock markets, our unemployments, all of our labor stuff, everything has moved in a very positive direction. If we can keep some of that momentum, then I think that we're in a relatively good place. And I think the consumer confidence will mirror that a year from now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the only wild card is if what sort of policies put into place.
The
right?
only wild card is Trump 2.0.
Yes.
No, right. That's
yeah. I mean, it wouldn't.
No idea how to.
It wouldn't even. It wouldn't matter who it was, right? If it was.
Well, let's be fair. It wouldn't matter who it was, but it's an extra large wild card right now.
Right. Just because of the magnitude of things being spoken about.
It's the elephant in the room, so to say.
Yes.
Okay, so you heard it here first. We just put our predictions out there just to recap on them. We both agree that pricing is going to go up in 2025. Inventory should be relatively flat, but we're both speaking optimism and putting it out there in the world and thinking that we're going to see a slight uptick. We're going to see that our days on market stays relatively flat. Our number of sales, I'm thinking, is going to go up. I think Dan agreed with me on that. Interest rates, I jumped over there, your world. Interest rates we think are going to be way more stable this year, but that hopefully we see a downtick as we kind of navigate through this. But I wouldn't be sitting and waiting for it. And we both 100% agree consumer confidence is going to thrive in 2025.
I would. Yep, you nailed it.
Holy smokes, man, we did it. We just put it out there. Hope you guys all had a lot of great intel on here. I'm so curious to hear what other people think as well. Please leave some comments for us so that we can get back with any questions. Dan, wholeheartedly, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
It's always a pleasure. Until next time, Chicago.